walkthrough and HTB box called as a price. This is a hype box in HTB and dia dah retired pun. So I hopefully that I can share about this box ke beginner yang boleh in terms of beginner terms. So let's start. So before we dive deep into the box, let me introduce myself first. My name is alumni and I'm a diploma student at JMI. This semester I'm a final year student and I'm playing CTF and HTB just for fun. But I'm investing my time more in HTB lah. And at the bottom there is my write up link. You guys can go to my write up and there is a write up for today's box. So summary of this price box. We will start with envelope scanning, and then we will found a GTR and PG admin we host. So usually if we found a GTR, we will found leak credentials or hard coded things in the repository, or maybe we will found a user, a local user in the GTR, or maybe in the domain controller itself. And but the reason why I want to share about this box actually on the number 9, which is an ADCS abuse, where I change the ESC7 vulnerability to ESC6 vulnerability. So I found this is very interesting to share with you guys. Sebab this is my first time doing this training certificate things. And actually I start very long, almost 10 hours to solve this to get the to get the MA privilege, because adalah sebab dia nanti we will see what the reason. And actually at that time when I try to solve this box, I tak change dua tau. Which I change sampai 3 certificate vulnerability, ESC7 to ESC6 to ESC16. Very dumb things to do lah. And after that I try buat lagi, rupanya boleh change dua je. buang masa gila. Okay, so without wasting much time, because the walkthrough probably will take a lot of time to go together. So I'm not sure if we can actually solve it on time before 10 p.m. But I will try. So do you guys see my Kali Linux? Nampak tak Kali Linux saya tadi?
Tak.
Okay, good. Okay, so I siap scan the box. This box, I first use the rust scan because this is an Active Directory box, so there's a lot of ports that open. So if we bantai terus guna nmap, it will took so long to actually enumerate this. So I use rust scan first, and then I convert it to nmap using -sc-sv to see the service. So at here we can see that there is Kerberos 88 port is open, which means the IP address that we scan is probably a domain controller server. And then we can see here that there is an 80 port is open, which redirect to the price.htb domain. And one more thing we need to see is this port 448. If you notice the service is HTTP with SSL. So later if we want to access the port, we need to use HTTPS, and kat sini pun ada domain is on this one PWM domain, subdomain I mean. So if we try to access this, the first.htb port 80, I dah set fuzzing. So kat sini we can see that the first thing I would usually do is fuzzing the directory lah. But there is nothing here, no interesting stuff. So I try to pass the subdomain to see if we can found any interesting subdomain, and we found the code subdomain here. So right now we have two subdomains, which is PWM, this one, and then we have code dot price.htb domain. So I dah letak ke belum? Yeah, dah letak. So we can just try to access these two subdomains, PWM price. So depannya you need to put the HTTPS because you use the SSL, and then one more is HTTP code price. Okay, so if we take a look at the PWM domain, PWM, if I'm not mistaken, is a short form for the password manager. So we can see that the PWM is in configuration mode, which is the crucial info for our exploitation, because it doesn't require a username. It just want you to have a password, then you can just log in into the PWM. So we will take note on this, but because of we don't have the credential yet, we don't have the password yet, so we just will play around with Githya first, because Githya usually have a hard-coded things, hard-coded credential maybe, or anything that we can find here. So if we go to explore, we go to the users, we can see that there is two users, which is administrator and Dell. How do you pronounce that? Dell people. Dell. So you can try to click on this to see if there is a public repository here. If not, then there's probably a private repository, and the administrator is probably the local Githya account. So for the HTB, for the fight box, actually the description provide us with the credential, which is how do I so the description of this box already provide us with the credential of D. Cooper. Bill Cooper, this guy, this account. So we can try to sign in with this credential to see what we can find in the account. So we can see here that there is one repo right here, price.htb. So based on the name, we can assume that probably this is the repository of this website. We can try to explore the folder, the files, and the crucial things on this repository is that it has the setup configuration. Here we can know that the backend using a PostgreSQL, and then here if we take a look at here, there is a SBC user in the server. So the username, so we need to take note with the username here for us to SSH later. And then what else? We got another subdomain here, HTTP //db -mgmt. Probably this is database management. We can simply put it on the host first. Okay, so there's nothing else that's in there, but if we go back to the home page, we can see that there's a lot of commit that this user has changed it. If we take a look one by one, we will take the updated commit where push to last year update readme did not update. Okay, and here we can see that there is a database URL with the hard coded credential. We can try to copy this first and put in our notes. Also with the secret key. So because of we know the database management domain, we can try to access the subdomain. Okay, so here we have the PG admin, and it requires us an email address or a username and the password. But if we take this and put it in the, I think boleh kot. Let me see. Oh, you boleh authenticate. Oh, no. Email or username is not valid. Okay. So we can try the Dale Cooper credentials to see if it working or not. So take note on the version, admin 4, version 9.1. So you successful login into the database management. But if we explore this database, actually there is nothing here. Yeah, if you look into the database, tak ada apa-apa pun kat sini. So what can we do after this? That remember that we found the version of the database earlier, so we can just simply use the you can simply check if the database is vulnerable or not. Silapan semoga silapan baik. I lupa. Wait. Oh, 9.1. Okay. So if we take a look at the AI summary, you can see that this question is vulnerable to CVE 2035 to 945, which is the critical CVE. So we can simply check if there is a public policy here. Also this one pun okay juga, this tool. Okay. So this one, if I'm not mistake, the POC ada problem. Not sure, but yang this one okay sikit. So we just clone the group. Okay, so what's the requirement? Okay, so we need to have the username, password, DB user, DB password, and the DB name, and the payload. So we have the credential, username, and the password, and then we have the database username and its password. Also, we need a database name. So we can go to the PGML there, and here is the name PS_DB. You actually can find it in the Wikia also. Where's the latest one? This one. Alah, why why my browser automatically go? I don't know. But the database name is the PS_DB. We can see it here. PS_DB. So we can pass the arguments to the POC. Here, okay, so here we have the target, which is the subdomain DB management, and then the username is -d Cooper, password DB user, DB password, DB name, which is PS_DB, and the payload. So we can make a listener that listen to port 400, 400, 444. Oh, you need to check if the IP address. Then set up the listener here. So it should be if I enter this, we will get a shell. We will get the request shell. Yeah, okay. So here we got the reverse shell as the PG admin. And then we can try to ls/a to see the configuration files of this shell, and then we can try to look if there is a home. Is there any other user in the shell that we let's so we only have the PGMA user here. We try to look in the directory or such file directory. Okay, so let's try and enumerate more. Try to look on the root directory. Here we can see that there is Docker env. So probably the shell is in the Docker, not a host. So maybe we need to escape the Docker first. We can try. Wait, before that, what we need? Oh, you need to check the internal port such as the What's the command? Wait. Uh, let's start. Let's start. Okay, that. Try to check the ELV first. In ELV, the ELV variable. Okay, so we got a password here, but what user here? Default password for the price here. We will take note on this. So, biasanya if I got a password, I just pay all the user that I dapat before this. And before this, we got another user, which is SPC, SPC at web tadi, dekat Githia here. And then we have a user. So if we take a look on the scanning tadi, there is port 2022 here, which is the SSH service. So we can uh, try to SSH between those two users. SSH, SDC. We try the SDC one out. It's about d.kuku ni, we know that the password is the element. How do I say this? We know that this is the password for Dell, but there's a probably that Dell also use the password of the page admin, but we will try to use the SVC first. Okay, we got a shell as the SVC service. We try to check the SVC, okay, then we try to check our current directory. We try to check what things in our directory, and then we try to check if there is another user in the shell. My bad. So, okay, slot ni kita ignore je. Okay, so we only have one user here. And from the current directory, we can see that the first, the HTB directory is pointing to the SRB web price. We can try to inspect what the content in the directory. So nothing interesting here. We try to see the before the directory. Okay, so we have search directory, we have share directory, and we have a web root. So web root basically is the price price web, and the share is protected by the root. So supposedly we can't inspect the content in the share directly, but let's say okay, we can't exactly access this directory. How about search? Okay, so search also we can't access this because of the only is root, and the group group ID that can access is infra-villages. Okay, so what else can we do? We can try to check if we can privilege escalation. So okay, pun tak boleh. So what else? We can try to check the internal port. So there's the SS-3 So here, there's a lot of internal port that are open, but the one that actually interesting is the 2049 and the 2376. Where the 2376? Where the 2376? Oh, this one. So these two ports is interesting because of if you check the default port for this port is 2376 default port service. The security encryption for the Docker Engine Remote API. So we know that this port is actually for the Docker API. So probably we can mount the host in the Docker. So next is 2049. 2049 is the NFS, which is the network file system. So if we got an access to the NFS, if we can mount the NFS, we actually can modify or we can read uh, the files in the NFS. So let's try to check the NFS first. The configuration for the NFS is export configuration file. Wait, what's the? Oh, okay. Okay, so here we can see that the the directory is SRV web price.xd. This is the directory that being shared in the NFS, and the directory have read and write access to everybody, to anyone in the internet. So we can try to mount from our target, from our attacker machine. So mount boleh tak? From here pun boleh. So mount SQ local host. I'm not sure why it's stuck.
Tinggi kena port forward lah sebab internal.
I'm sorry, what?
NFS tu internal kan?
Ya, betul juga. My bad. Okay. So so the idea is that we will mount the SRV web price into our attacker machine. Then we will try to access this directory. Okay, how to access this directory? We can actually do a GID spoofing. So let's try. I think we can, because we change, so we need to use this cell. I think cell, yes, we use HTB. Yes. So PWD, okay. So PWD, okay. I forgot the OW. And G cell, there's O, there's G cell. Dapat tak? Okay, so while waiting for the file to transfer, I will check the command for G cell. Okay, so we can start the G cell server. Then from here we want to is first letter A, so G cell kita tulis. We check the potential first. G cell, the G cell, client, it is your IP address, and then the port, and then the 7 one. Wait, what's the command belakang ni? Lupa lah. Oh, this. Okay, betul lah. Dua kosong 49 127 001 2094. Okay, so okay, we got connected to the cell. So should be we can mount this time. Hilap. But then we can edit the IP by the local host. So mount HP. I think I forgot to display the port. Let me double check first. Oh, my bad. Show mount. Does not exist. Wait, why? The it should be able to mount.
The port is wrong. Yang
Sorry?
yang you buat teaser dalam server tu, the port number is wrong.
Okay, dekat server tadi.
I think you forward to 2094 locally kan, so it will be 2049.
Oh,
Try again. See.
2049. Connected. Okay. Wait. Oh my god. My SSH. Okay, connected. Okay. And then we need to mount the drive. Let's go LT. Let's add a key. Okay, here. This one port 2094. Kita pakai apa tadi? 2049. Dapat. How about this? Yes. Okay. We'll do this. Oh, macam dapat je. Okay, nice. So we mount the NFS and we got the directory on the attacker machine on our side lah. So if we take a look here, the permission is still the same like in the target one. Yeah. still the same, which is the root rate, and this is the numeric number for the GID. Price underscore infra, if I'm not mistaken, if we try to resolve that. So what can we do here? Since we already mount the NFS, we can try to exploit the NFS by using the GID spoofing. So to do this, we need to add ourselves into the GID of this numeric number, or ataupun kalau kita resolve, it will be price underscore infra, something like that. So we can try to add the group. Okay. And our ID now, we will get just this one, price underscore infra. So if you try to access now, the search directory as LNT price search. Okay, so here we can see that there is a certificate authority, or the CS here in the search directory. So from here, actually we can know that the CA, this certificate is using for the Docker API authentication. So what can we do here? We can try to pass this certificate to the Docker API. Yes. Docker, just Docker API. Okay, let's verify SSDLS. Oh, okay, I know why. NT price search. So we try again. This is a syntax error. So cannot connect to the we need to port forward the Docker daemon also, the Docker API also. Okay, so we SSH first. Okay, same method we do like this for the NFS. Just change the port number. Actually, this one we don't need anymore because we already mount it. So it connected, right? Yeah. So let's try again. So why my Kali so lagging? Yo, why my Kali so lagging? CD mount price. Wow, it's so lag. CD MSP price search. Oh, probably because of I only. I sure if we can connect both of it. LF plus LA, LLP, try. Okay, okay, I do. Permission denied because of kita tak ada this one. Try to put it there. Okay. So we go this. My bad. Dapat tak, dapat tak, dapat tak. Okay, nice. So we got the authorization denied by plugin of Docker. So by default, the Docker API doesn't have the authentication. So they use the plugin called as a auth Docker to actually to check whether the user have an access to the API or not. So in this case, we as a price user don't have access to this to interact with the API. So what can we do is that we can actually try to search for the policies of the broker, but because of the don't have much time to do a research, then I will just skip the research part and we will we will just exploit the certificate. So if you try to search on the internet of the if you try to search on the internet of the policy, you will get the path of the lesson. So here we can see that there is a user and the action. So our target is the root user, which has the actions empty here, because if the action is empty, we can do we can do anything with the Docker API. So you know that our certificate, our current certificate is the price user. So we need to change it to the root user. So what we can do is that we can purge the certificates. So I will just dump my command here from my right up. So here what we do is that actually we generate our own public key and we forge the user. Here we can see the CN is certificate name is the root. Okay, so we already forged the certificate. So let's try to verify first. Okay, nice. So what we do here is that I use the ps command in the Docker to see the running container here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 running container here. And what we can do is that we now have an access to the Docker action, to the Docker pages. So what we can do is that we can mount the root host to the Docker. So we can use this command. We will make a new running container using the price web image, and then we will mount the all the hosts from the target into the container. So let's try. Hopefully it works. So ID, we are root, and then try to access the root. I then then I don't really like the unstable shell. So yeah, we have the user.php here, and we can just simply read the flash. Okay, so the first flag we got the first flag, and this is just a beginning. Yeah, the walkthrough actually quite long because this is a hard box. Okay, so from here, what can we do is that we now have in root directory, we can try to enumerate the script directory ls-la script ls-la. Okay, so here we can see that there is pwm directory. So probably the directory contains a sensitive file here that we can use for the subdomain that we found here earlier. So let's try to see what does this directory have. HTB pwm ls-a config dot blah 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 cd config ls-a. Okay, so if we do some research about the PWM, actually there is encrypted password in the XML. If I'm not mistaken, this one code. So pergi ke atas. Wow, panjangnya. This one. Okay, so there this is the encrypted password for what user ni. I mean for the PWM subdomain. PWM is in the configuration mode, so we don't need the username. So what can we do next? If we can simply just decrypt the password, decrypt the encrypted text, and we will get the plain password, which is this raw on. You can use John or the hashcat to simply decrypt this. So since we got the password, we can try to log in into the PWM. Okay. I think let's show the configuration incorporate and definition configuration summary. Configuration manager. Configuration. Okay. We got the login. Okay, so because this is the password manager, so we can think that this service will store the password lah. So if we take a look on the text side, this is for the adapt communication to authenticate. So here we can see that we using LDAP. Notice that there is a SQ for secure, and then it will go to the domain controller and connect to the domain controller. So what can we do is that we can change the this URL to our attacker machine. And we will not use LDAPs, we will use LDAP because if we use LDAPs, we will get an encrypted text. So we don't want that. We want the credential to be used to be in unencrypted text. So here we will intercept it. We will connect the PWM connection to our Kali Linux, to our HTB machine. So we can put our listener here, LVNP. So for port LDAP is 389. Just use SSD lah. Untuk senang kita tengok. So LDAP protocol, LDAP, and then our HTB machine, IP address, IPA, so and then the IP address and the ports of LDAP. So we save this, make sure the port is staying with our listener. You can use the responder also, but in my case, I will just use the netcap. Then we try to connect it. We should get this connection and with the credentials. So let me clean it up first. SVC to bounce here. Okay, so here we can see that the user of SVC_infra have this password, the unique password here. So what can we do with this is that we can try to connect it using LDAP, and then we will ingest the files to open it in the Bloodhound to see more information about the Active Directory environment. So we can simply just do like this for the authentication. -u SVC_infra HP and its password. Oh, why invalid? Wait, I think I need to I lupa nak copy lagi lah dekat bawah je. My bad. Okay, so supposedly we can authenticate with LDAP now. So password lagi ni. QWQOD OW or 0W QODO. My bad, salah address. Okay, so here we successful authenticate with LDAP. So what can we do? We got the valid credential and we can authenticate with LDAP. So now we can ingest the file to open in the Bloodhound. So, but I will not show the how to ingest the file because it will take some time. So I will just open it here. What's the price? Okay, so we will wait for a moment. Okay, complete. So usually after I ingest the file, I will start with the user that we found that we used to ingest the file. So here the SBC underscore infra, we can see all the details of this user, and then we can see that there is an outbound object control, and it has a control and a permission to use the readGMSA password to the GMSA CA production, PROD. Maybe PROD, maybe it stands for the production. Okay, so what does this console or permission do? So basically, we can dump the password of this user, the GMFA user, and get their password hash or the AES key. So for this one, we will use the GMFA dumper as as so so we will try to dump the password. Okay, so we got the NPLM page here. So what can we do now is that we can authenticate into the user using the pass the hash method. So we can try to authenticate with LDAP to try if it works or not. Yes. So the username you can get the on the SAM account name, and then the hash. I think there's hash. Dapat tak, dapat tak. Okay, nice. We got a valid connection with the hash. So what can we do now is that if we take a look on the account, on the user GMSA, and on the description, it says that the group managed service account used for certification authority operations. So here's the fun part. We will use the certify tools to see if there a vulnerability that exists in here. So so this is the command certify -ad, and then we want first to find the vulnerability that exists in the ADCF using this financial GMSA, and then it hashes the hashes we need to check the hashes with an or hash. With the IP address, and we need to put the domain controller into the host. So it will scan for the ADCS or the templates that is vulnerable. Okay, so we successfully done this, and then we can try to see. Okay, so if you counter like me like this, we just simply try to run it again. because sometimes ada problem kat situ. Not sure why, but yeah. Okay, let's see. Hopefully ada vulnerability lah. Okay, nice. So here we have the template of the price TC01CA, and then there is a vulnerabilities of ESP7. Okay, so what can we do with this right now is that since we have the a valid credential of this account, we can try to win our first, because we will try to exploit the certificate using a PowerShell. So we log in first into the WinRM statue and just take this. Again, I look for the then the first. Okay, dapat tak? Okay, nice. Okay, so what actually the ESP7 do is the CA that the user this have a managed CA permissions. So we can actually modify the configuration or modify the settings of the CA to anything. So if we take a look on this head plot and we try to find the ESP7 one. Okay, so here it says that this vulnerability occur because of the managed CA. We have a permission of managed CA, so we can put the attributes flat to permit the SAN specification in any template. So after we put this in the registry certificate into the CA, we can change it to ESC6 here. We can spoof, or we can request the certificate as any user that we want. So when I say that any user what we want, it is including the administrator account. Okay, so first we need to put this attribute into the CA, to modify the CA. So to do this, you actually can you can actually use the certify tool, but at that time when I try to solve this box, I don't know why, but my certify doesn't work. So I need to do with PowerShell. So this is the scripts that I use. I put it in my write-up. So basically, it just put this value, which is this one lah, into the registry. Where is the registry path? This one. So after that, it will restart the search service. Hopefully, when I run this, there is no error. Okay, nice. So the search service already restarted. So to verify if it works or not, we can simply check for the registry path and check if the attribute is assigned or not. So attribute subject to name 2. Attribute subject to name 2. Okay, so if we take a look here, we already assigned this attribute in the CA. So we can try to scan again the certificate to see if the certificate now is changed to the ESP seat. So here, if we look at it, now it was vulnerable to ESP fix. Okay, so we can continue exploit the ADCS using ASP6. This is HC5, this is ASP6. So I just dump my command here. So what does this command do is basically we will request a certificate using the FTP underscore infra user. Why? Because of we requesting a template user. So when we request a template user, the condition need to be a user account. So in Active Directory, we have multiple objects. We call it object. So in the object, we have user, we have computer, and so on. So if we use a computer credential, a computer account, it does not work because of we request it with a template user. So we need to use a credential that is basically a user object. So here we specify the CA, which is the price DC01 CA. Okay, so where we got this? Here, in this template. Okay, and then the dash UPN. Dash UPN basically the administrator account, administrator name of the account, and the SID. This is just an alternative if there's an error or anything. So we run this. Should we will get the administrator set the .tfs one. Okay, so we success got the administrator .tfs. But if we look at here, the SAN URL, SAN URL is the SID that the administrator was assigned. So if we take a look at the logout here, and then we take a look at the object SID, just focus on the number at the back. So by default, the number at the back for the administrator is 500. So here the SAN URL is assigned with the 500, which is an administrator. But in the security extension, the SID is different. So the 3601 is basically the SBC underscore infra SID. You can take a look here. See, the number at the back is matched with the security extension. So what's wrong with this? If we try to authenticate directly using the certificate method like this, it would be fail. Because why? Because the authentication, how does the authentication works? Here is by cross-checking the SAN URL and the security extension. So if both of these are matched, then we can get an access to the administrator. But if it doesn't match, then it will say that the certificate and the user is not matched. Try to get GT object mismatched. Here, object SID mismatched, because it will compare both of these SID. Okay, so how do we bypass this? Actually, we can use the LDAP. We can try to get an LDAP shell, because when we authenticate using the LDAP in service, it will not take the SID between the security extension and the SAN URL. So here we just put the LDAP shell, if I'm not mistaken. Nanti kita akan dapat shell LDAP lah. So kat sini we can do anything that we like. We basically have the administrator rights to use the LDAP protocol. So what can we do? We can change the account's password. We can grant an access to the administrator to do a DC synchronization. So, but in my write up, I just simply change the administrator's password account. So we will change the password here, the administrator password here, to password 123 and then tanda seru. So now we successfully change the administrator's password. You can simply label with RM -I, and then the user is administrator. -P. So now it should be we can authenticate safely. Boom, and we got the administrator shell. Okay. So we got there, and then we got the root flag. Okay, so I think that's all.